We do it. I'm the founder of My Biz homepage. It's a free web-based platform. We help people, primarily small companies, better understand their finances. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. It's crucial. We're going to talk in a minute about the number of defaults and the reason for defaults among small and emerging growth businesses in the United States. What we developed as a company, and again, everything we do is free, we wanted to monitor the financials of a company and alert to changes in financial position. That becomes important when you recognize the default rates among small businesses. Excuse me, we're not allowed to say that. We're allowed to say closure rates of small businesses and the reasons they close. Interesting statistic coming out of the SBA is that the majority of businesses that close in America are successful when they close. They're just not successful enough. I think that's terrible, and we're trying to change that. We do monitor the key financial elements of the company. And I'll talk about why those are important, but you know, it's not tough, but it's also an interesting statistic that about of the 25 million small businesses in America, QuickBooks has 80% of the market. If you don't know QuickBooks, it's a great product for small businesses. But what's sad about that, they've got 6 million users. That means there are 10, 12 million companies out there not using any software to manage and monitor their business. Goes back to the SBA statistics. We see a lot of companies that don't understand, for example, when their accounts receivable are out of line, they just don't know that they just know they don't have any money. Don't get this. Small businesses in America, fascinating statistic. We all focus on publicly traded companies. You know, the whole south end of Manhattan and damn near every newspaper and business magazine in the United States focuses on 15,000 public companies with an aggregate market cap of about $15 trillion. A lot of money. Well, why shouldn't they be focusing on the small businesses and their contribution, the 50% of the non-farm gross domestic product generated by small businesses? They generate $5 trillion in sales. Aggregate market cap for all, again, public companies, about $15 trillion. Morgan Stanley statistic. U.S. alone, small business cap, about $70 trillion. You outpace the public companies in every segment of the economy. We track this stuff. The chief economist of the SBA is on our board, so I'm loaded with SBA statistics. 99% of employer firms, 44% of U.S. payroll, 50% of employees. Every metric is off the scale for small businesses, but we think that they are sort of the Rodney Dangerfield of the business markets. They just don't get the respect that they need. So the majority of businesses, again, this is a terrible statistic. It's about 68% of the businesses that close in the United States are successful when they close, just not successful enough, and I think that's terrible. The reasons that we find, we maintain a relatively significant database of small and emerging growth businesses, and we do a lot of trend analysis coming out of that to find out what we can do as a company to help stem some of the problems. Poor cash flow management is the leading cause of business failure in the United States. The leading cause. It's not a bad business plan. It's not a bad product. It's not a poorly thought out marketing campaign. You can do really well, but unless you manage the cash that comes in your front door, you will fail. Amazing to me how many people don't use accounting software. By the way, anybody that poor inventory management. This happens. Inventory kind of sneaks up on you from the back side, and in service businesses, it's not an issue, obviously, unless you have too many staff and you consider them inventory. But poor inventory management, personal use of business funds. This is a real siren song for a lot of small business owners and operators. It's, well, I'm at Staples, and I need something for the kids for school, so I'll just stick it on my corporate card. There's from that all the way up to vacations. Well, I'll put it on here and I'll fix it later is a real syndrome that we see a lot. The fix it later syndrome. It just doesn't come back around. Interestingly enough, unexpected growth. You know, sometimes that gets away from you. We focus a lot as a company on managed growth. In a rocket ship, 32 countries in 12 months, we're growing pretty fast. But unless you have the right operating controls and you're at least aware of those operating controls that are available to you, unexpected growth, too much growth can kill a company as much as no growth at all. A lack of long-term planning. You know, I hate writing business plans, I really do, but they are such a valuable tool, and the discipline to do that will come back to you. Because out of the right business plan, take the time and have the discipline to write down what you want to do. Because when you write it down, it becomes real. Wish I could remember who said that. It's a great quote. But when you write it down, it becomes real. And then if you can take the business plan and start putting that into quarterly goals, put it into semi-annual goals, annual goals. You're not having that done, not having the discipline to do that is sort of like, I don't know, driving from Washington to Philadelphia without a map. I think it's up that way someplace, or that way, I'm not really sure. It took me 3 hours to get here this morning. I'm not sure where Philadelphia is, but the lack of the long-term planning and the discipline to write it down and have it make sense, and be your own worst enemy. You know, just put it through the BS filter that says, is this the right thing to do or the wrong thing to do? One of the things that's not up here, but we really, really advise people to do, is an advisory board. Now, the difference between an advisory board and board of directors is you have to pay for insurance on one, and the other one you don't have to. And be brutal with your advisory board. We have people on ours that beat me up on a regular basis. We have an 80-year-old attorney, a partner in one of the largest law firms in the world, that I just feel like I'm in 6th grade again every time I talk to him. But it's crucial because they have the intellectual honesty to tell you the things that you may not want to believe about your own business. You may gloss over with your own business and say, well, you know, that looks good to me. But if you have a third-party source coming back to you saying, you know what, Pete, this doesn't look quite as good, or, you know, I heard that on the last time that we talked and nothing's really moved since then, so what are you doing? They have that intellectual honesty that kind of helps you to keep your company focused and moving forward the way you want it to. An undiversified portfolio. One-trick ponies rarely work. One of the best things about being business in America is the directions that businesses take that we don't see. You may start off with a product that you think is a marvelous product for a specific use. For example, My Biz Homepage started as another company that nobody liked. This was a tool buried in the other company that I thought was marvelous, that nobody else did, so everybody liked this, so we built a company around it. Again, we as entrepreneurs really like to sell. That's what we do. You know, we have a product that we're passionate about, whether it's the perfect cup of coffee, whether it's writing the perfect ad in Debbie Gasper's case, or whatever our product might be. We want to spend the most time with that. You know, maybe we're not as comfortable with the accounting side, which is why we gave it to a bookkeeper or accounting firm. But that doesn't mean you can let go of that. You have to pay as much attention to that as you do with your sales efforts, because if you don't, your sales efforts won't matter very much. What I want to do is wrap up a little bit with some of the resources, the free resources that are available to you. We're a free model. I love free. So we try and associate with people that do free models as well. Oh, you said this is going to stay up on your site, Natalie? Okay. This will be on their website. But the Small Business Development Centers, if you don't know about them, they're incredible. They trained 770,000 small businesses last year. The association is based here in DC, but they have 1,000 centers across the United States. They're primarily university-based. A SCORE, Service Corps of Retired Executives. These guys rock. SCORE.org is their website. Again, a free model. They have several thousand counselors around the country. Everything they do is free. They do web-based consulting for free. If you're stuck on your model, you can go to SCORE.org, Ask an Expert platform. It routes the question to someone who has specific expertise in your area, in your field, by NAICS code and dollar volume to give advice. Again, the QuickBooks group, they have about 4,000 smaller accounting firms at the QuickBooks group that can offer advice. Now, they've done a great job of they're called QuickBooks certified counselors, of ones that are less expensive. I mean, the larger groups focus on the larger to medium-sized companies, I would guess. So QuickBooks focus is to help you grow so you can go hire these guys. That's their whole track. Smallbusinesstrends.com is awesome. A lot of information, a lot of statistics that you can work with a little bit. One that's not up here, which will help you stay in compliance, is officialpayments.com. If you are making a last-minute filing and you need to put it on your American Express card, go to officialpayments.com. Last year they processed about $4 billion for about 6 million different clients for last-minute tax payments. But they are a great resource. And that's, thank you. I really appreciate that.